Hey, Scott from HeyUGuys, lovely to meet you.
Guys.
Hey, there we go, got that on camera. I can imagine as a producer, you hope a year, 2 years down the line that you have a successful movie. You must be delighted with the reactions so far.
We're really happy with the film that we made. It doesn't happen often that you start a process and the film turns out exactly the way you started it. And when I look back at all the reference photos and videos that we looked at, we went to shoot in Chernobyl to get that sense of a big cityscape overrun by nature. And all of these were visual references. And so when you see the completed film at the end, all the backdrop is exactly as we'd dreamt it. So it's absolutely amazing that we ended up with that.
I can imagine there's quite a lot of projects as a producer that you read scripts and everything else. What was it about this one that took to you and that was the one you wanted to make?
Originally, I read a short story that Mike had written, which is all about Melanie. And actually, in the short story, there's only Melanie and Sergeant Parks. And I just fell in love with Melanie. I'd never seen a character like her before, a little girl who doesn't realize she's a monster. And I love the fact that there was so much empathy for her, and you see all her childlike curiosity and love for her teacher, and then you realize, and she realizes she's a monster. And we thought it'd be really fun to basically mess with the audience and see how we could play with their emotions as well along the way.
You must have been delighted when you read that character, read the short story, and then you get someone like Sennia, if I'm pronouncing that correctly.
Yeah,
you get her, and I believe she was like the last person, or one of the last people she auditioned.
We watched thousands of tapes, we met 500 girls, and it does sound crazy, but she's the very last little girl that Colm met. I wasn't with him, but he called me straight away and he said, "There's one more, watch her tape now." And I knew the second I watched her tape, and 3 days later she was in London doing a chemistry read with Gemma, and we just knew it was her.
You lucked out as well with the cast. Obviously you spoke about Gemma and then someone like Glenn Close and Paddy Considine. Again, you must have been delighted with who you got.
It really is the dream cast because I think it's such an eclectic group as well. I don't think many audiences would expect those three actors together, and they bring something very different, and yet as a group they really gel, and that was sort of magical on set.
You've had great reactions obviously from critics, and I think you're in Toronto as well. What about the young audience? You know, obviously teenage girls, teenage boys watching this movie. Have many given good reactions as well?
The ones that are on Twitter have, yes.
Social media.
Social media.
Also, you got Colm as the director. Was he someone that you wanted from the very beginning, or?
Yes, I mean, Colm and I have been trying to find something to work on for about 7-8 years. We tried to make an Aleister Crowley thing 7 years ago, and we just stayed in touch. And when this came along, he wanted to do what he calls dereliction porn. And Mike had created this amazing story set in a dystopian future, and it seemed we could fuse the two really nicely. So, yeah, it was a no-brainer.
I know you've had success with this. Obviously, you move on to the next one. What's next for you as a producer?
We're actually working on Mike's next book, Fellside,
Fantastic.
as a threesome. So there you are.
Excellent. I hope your sister's good. Thank you so much for
very
your time.
much.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're watching Hey You Guys!
Hey You Guys, huh?
Hey, you guys.
Is that from the Goonies?
It is indeed, yeah.
Nice.
Hey!